Hey, everybody.
Bro, you were
Roy seems to be having some connection problems at the moment, so I've just muted his mic temporarily. Hopefully he'll notice that in a second before he deafens everyone.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, is he in a wind tunnel?
Yeah, so...
Either that or he's swallowing the mic.
It's one or the other, and honestly, it's Roy. He's been off his meds. Who knows what he's going to fucking do?
Who knows?
He will eventually, I'm sure, notice that I have muted his mic.
Maybe.
He hasn't yet.
He didn't know where the link was.
Yeah. Roy's new to live streaming. He hasn't actually done it yet. I think this is actually the first one he's host on his channel. So we're joined this evening by myself, Rational Shitlord. We've got PhatPat from Poisoning the Well, Egal Matreaux, Angry Mgtow, and of course Roy from Very Nearly Viral, whose show this is.
I was on here on the presumption that Lacey would be here, although it's a lying shithole. So, you know,
well, we know that. So yeah, it's been a bit of an interesting week. I mean, I put up a video earlier today. I think the phrase I use is "fuck me." This year's gone from 0 to 100 fast.
I blame Trump.
You can't blame Trump. You can't blame everything that's happened this year on Trump, although
it just makes it
weird
easier.
Shit has happened since then, so maybe.
It makes it so much easier.
Maybe.
Well, it's the left overreacting to Trump and, you know,
yeah,
trying to dodge all the shit that's actually happening in the world and pretending it's not happening. And as it escalates, they just keep, you know, doubling down and saying, well, no, that's not happening. Like Sweden, for example. That's not what's going on in Sweden. The bam, riot.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's not happening, everybody. I'm not seeing anything.
You know, it's crazy. I was like reading about 13-year-old girls getting raped in Sweden by like loads of by gangs of immigrants, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, they talk about rape culture in the West and they demonize men for just glancing in their direction. They're like, you just raped me by looking at me. And then in Sweden you have little girls being raped and they're like, oh, everything's okay. Everything's okay.
You're just being Islamophobic.
Yeah, that's one of the things that it's a fucking pet peeve of mine is overusing words where it's not appropriate and you just end up softening the impact of that word. Rape is a fucking horrible thing, and that word should turn everyone's stomach, but it now doesn't. Well done. Congratulations, authoritarian left.
Nah.
No, you're absolutely right in the sense that the feminists have succeeded in completely delegitimizing the word rape. Because we think we are rape, and you know, someone looking at you, that could be rape. Someone touching you in a way they don't like, that could be rape.
Oh, I just farted. I raped myself.
They have birth rape now. Women having to give birth as a form of rape.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, it's one of the things I actually wanted to fucking talk to Roy about tonight, but apparently he hasn't actually found the unmute button yet.
I wonder what conversation he's having right now.
Hopefully he isn't, because I've told him in 2 different places that I've muted him, and he can hear us.
We both know we all know he's having a conversation right now. We all know it.
So I guest spot on his channel tonight, and now I just hijack one of his streams on him.
I know, they started to feel like you're just taking it over. Just fixing everything. Oh, by the way, that video was fantastic. I enjoyed the show. I mean, I rolled a lot. But
the Freeman. Oh,
yeah,
dude.
the Freeman. Oh my god, just the am I being detained? Am I being detained? I was like, I can't. I'm gonna hit my head. I started to get the helmet. You wear the helmet because you are gonna hit your head. Because I bashed the hell out of my fucking head.
It's the the Freeman.
Gotta keep a pillow on your desk.
The Freeman on the land has been kind of a pet project of mine for years. I mostly point and laugh and mock them, and I figured, you know what? I'm trying to branch out from the just SJW stuff.
Roy just found.
Yeah, Roy dropped out. Don't worry, we've got 5 minutes for him to jump back in. And this seemed like a really opportune thing to use. Welcome back, Roy.
Welcome back, buddy.
I didn't.
Now this time, don't put the mic all the way down your throat. Keep it about an inch in front of your face at least. It's not Lacey.
I didn't do that muting. That wasn't me. That's good. It's going well so far.
Oh, excellent. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I went with doing some Freeman on the land stuff because honestly, there is so much there, and these people, say what you will about the likes of the flat earthers, they harm no one.
Wait, am I back?
You are back, Roy.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I had to switch microphones there. This
Yeah.
one's a little bit shitter, and it sounds awful, and it's going to give you all ear aids. But I was going to like I sorted all this out with Egal before I did like a little private test, and
And then you
even
broke
though
it.
I was prepared, everything went fucking wrong instantly. So there
Look.
you go.
Look,
Yeah, that's live streams. Yeah.
it's live streams, but look, let's be fair. The stream itself went up and it went live roughly on time.
Oh, sure.
Timing doesn't count. You had intelligent guests who aren't talking over each other. We haven't had any particularly awkward pauses. It's gone fine. The fact that you weren't in it is irrelevant.
Yeah, I might as well.
Really good chat.
Yeah, I might as well just fucking leave now. Right, hang on. I want to bring Ranting Feminist wants to come in.
I don't think I know Ranting Feminist.
Yeah, she's obviously a feminist YouTuber. She's got about, I think she's got like 1,500 or some shit. But she's all right. She's
So
all right.
I'm still the baby in the party.
Sometimes.
Has anyone got her on Twitter? Can you send her the link?
Organized.
I posted the link to the video, but I haven't sent a private link. So I can post that, and then we'll get everybody in here.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I almost said that on Godless Engineers chat on Saturday. I was getting confused, and I still had it copied on my desktop, and I just went, whoop, I was about to send it out. It was like, I'm about to tell everyone, jump in the chat.
I guarantee you it will not be as bad as the hangout I was in with Gutenberg.
Why?
Oh shit, none of you were
Because he's
here.
literally Hitler.
No.
Steve Gutenberg?
No. Gutenberg wrecked SJW videos. It wasn't a stream or anything, although I kind of wish it was so that this would be immortalized. He threw out just a hangout link onto Twitter. There was me, him, Marty, a couple others just having a chat like. And some random person none of us knows joins the hangout. We kind of knew that was going to happen. This person is wearing, we couldn't really see because the webcam wasn't very good. It was either sellotape on a body that really could afford to shed a few pounds, or it was silk bondage rope or elastic, we weren't sure, with what looked like bag clips on their nipples.
Nice.
Yeah, they then proceeded to stand up and pleasure themselves for all of the 2 minutes it took and then left the stream.
Wait, Egal, before you were saying like you did that video and you were saying like a bunch of your videos have been demonetized.
I've had a few. Oh, the last one that had this demonetized was my one where I'm talking about my disability, which is extremely odd to have someone just talking about irritable bowel syndrome and like government policy have it like be deemed not advertiser friendly because there's nothing bad in it.
Let's be fair, Egal. No one wants their product associated on a video about IBS.
About doo-doo.
I've seen way worse.
Well,
you know.
That makes no sense because we've obviously got like quite a bit of copyrighted shit in a lot of our videos, but none of them have ever been demonetized.
We had our Joey Salads video demonetized, but that's because we used a lot of his video, and then they just refused to take down the demonetization, or they're claiming our money is what they're doing. But
oh, really? So his network actually sort of put a claim in.
Oh, well, he actually, Joey contacted us. He sent me his email, and we talked back and forth, and Joey was actually trying to get it fixed, but
yeah,
the network doesn't give a shit what he says. They're going to take whatever they can get, and they know they can get away with it. So, but he's actually been really cool. Joey has been, even though he's a douche, but whatever.
Oh, you got to love Joey Salads. He exposed black people.
He exposes the hell out of the fake news.
So, PhatPat, what are you up to these days? What do you got coming up soon?
Well, the one video it always gets pushed back because something else shows up. We have something in the works about social repose. The guy that married Jacqueline Glenn, kind of shotgun wedding her, and so we wrote this thing out like months ago to do this joke on him, and it always gets pushed back because something else shows up, i.e. guest videos or Tana Mongoose or whatever is saying the N-word, and so we just kept pushing shit back. But that's what we're working on, I think, now. Oh yeah, we keep a whiteboard in the kitchen, which is a list of the video ideas and when we can get to them and what we want to do next, kind of stuff. So unless something goes viral, something's trending that we can make fun of immediately, we just go back to that list.
I mean, the thing is, right, you guys are obviously sort of lumped in with like the skeptic anti-feminist sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But you make like a lot of videos on just like trending things that are going on YouTube, right?
Well, what happened? Yeah, what we started off as primarily like atheist YouTubers and skeptics, but just making fun of whatever. And after a while, it got kind of stagnant, and we were just starting to look at the rest of YouTube, and we're like, well, I think it'd be funnier for us to go outside of what the skeptic community pays attention to and make fun of some of this other silly shit that's happening all around YouTube, but no one notices. So we started just bringing shit in, like Joey Salads or the Tenamangu thing, and just anything that was just silly that we found outside the skeptic community. And we just, instead of, because Josh Fierstein hasn't been really clever recently, so we're like, he's boring. And
I did think the Joey Salad stuff and the Tana Mojo stuff is great for highlighting how much people will jump on a narrative and run with it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on. Ranting feminist. Are you really a feminist?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Show us your tits. Show us your tits.
That's quite unusual for Angry Mgtow, because literally everyone is a feminist to him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna show my tits. Nice edgy jokes though.
I'm just like, what the heck? Really, is Roy still having trouble? Guy, boy, you're really special.
This is his first time hosting a stream, to be fair.
Let him get away with that.
I wanted to comment on saying that you were saying, gentleman in the headphones. Sorry, what's your username or PTW?
Poisoning the Well.
Oh, Poisoning the Well. Yeah. Because I was going to say, I think there's a lot less feminist content on YouTube. So for the anti-feminists, I imagine that sort of gets quite difficult to find new content to sort of cover or respond to / make fun of / whatever. Right. When you haven't got as many content creators. And to be honest, my stuff isn't really that great for response videos, I don't think.
Right. Well, I mean, that was my thing. We started looking around and we started saying, okay, do we want to keep beating the same drum? Or do we want to try to like just showcase other stupid, silly shit? Yeah, I think there's so much other silly shit.
I've always been of the opinion that my channel is about stupidity rather than anything specific ideology based, which is why I've just made a Flat Earther video. That was so much fun.
That was a really good video.
Haven't laughed as hard. Whoever listened to it, that laugh, that was the first take. I started laughing so hard, I pulled up Audacity while I was pissing my pants laughing and just recorded myself for the extended time period.
Okay, so I just love how you guys are calm, but there's a feminist in the room. Ranting, so are you like a laughy feminist? Like, are you joking as a feminist, or are you a real social justice warrior?
Don't be a dick, dude. She's a real
I am a feminist, absolutely. But I don't know about the term SJW. I've never really applied it to myself in any serious context, because to be honest, that word kind of loses all meaning because it gets used on pretty much every feminist at some point or another. So it's sort of, to me, the word SJW doesn't really have any real meaning because it's supposed to mean the extreme sort of feminists, but I've been called an SJW. Pretty much any moderate feminist has been called an SJW, so I think it's kind of lost all meaning to me anyway.
No one cares about what the context is, and someone's just offended. Well, you're now an SJW. Only SJWs get offended. Everyone else is fine.
Well, I guess it depends. If you're going by feels, then yeah, we kind of do lump you into that category because it really is what they push on.
I think it depends though, because I think sometimes, to an extent, all people do have feelings. All people are going to feel something. So to pretend like we're just these solid rocks that don't have any feeling whatsoever is kind of silly because, everybody does have feeling, and to a certain extent, arguing through feelings can be, like, depending on the subject, it can be relevant, the feelings that it brings up. Like if you're arguing for morality, a lot of the time that is based on a feeling. It's not really something set in stone. So yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on the argument, what you're arguing for.
By the way, Ranting, you're a naturally born woman, right?
I don't really know if I want to start delving into that shit, but I'm cisgender if that's what you mean.
No, Mgtow, you gotta stop. You're gonna get absolutely ripped apart like Roman Lemuel did to you. Shut up.
I'm just asking questions. I understand you're cisgendered, but were you born with a vagina?
Why does it matter?
That's what that means.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought cisgender meant... Okay. I thought
it meant you identify as the sexuality that you were born with.
He's learning, everyone.
He's learning, but I mean, personally, I don't give a fuck.
No, and also it's kind of jarring to just ask a total stranger, hey, were you born with a vagina? Like, that's a bit kind of...
Wait, isn't that how you interact?
We haven't even said g'day, really.
Oh, yeah,
it's just kind of weird. Like,
I get all the time.
I just think with, like, trans people, they've got a point with not wanting to be asked, hey, were you born with a vagina? Like, first thing, like, right off the bat, that's pretty rude, because you wouldn't ask... you know, a random cis person you see, hey, what's your genitals? Like, that's pretty fucking weird.
Oh, I shake hands by grabbing genitals. What are you talking about?
The only reason why I hang around these guys is because they seem to not really give much of a shit in the world, but I'm not going to adhere to your social justice warrior norm. If I can't ask you...
Okay.
Fuck you.
Okay, don't adhere to my SJW stuff. That's fine.
The thing you have to remember about Angry Mgtow is he's a Mgtow.
And he's angry.
Yeah, we're all feminists according to him, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like if he wants to say whatever he likes, I don't care. But I'm not gonna sit back and not criticize him for things that I think are deserving of criticism. Like,
please.
So I think that's basically what he's asking for. Is well, I won't adhere to your SJW nonsense. It's like, well, you don't have to, but I'm criticizing you, which is my right to do so.
Absolutely.
Free speech.
None of us are jumping in saying, yeah, we're not going to stand with that SJW. No, like most of us,
yeah, of course.
we don't give a fuck. I mean, the only time I can see a point where it is justifiable to kind of sit there and go, right, sorry, what were you born with, is when people, I've seen trans man used to describe someone who's F to M and M to F. And if you're trying to explain where you're coming from, I can see people going, look, just tell me what you were born with and what you identify with as now, and I know where you're coming from. I mean, personally, I don't give a shit if someone is trans. Just tell me what you identify as. I don't give a fuck.
That is like a point in a conversation that probably started a while ago.
Probably not an introduction.
Yeah, don't open with that.
No. Well, I think, listen, I'm not trying to discriminate, but look at that Riley guy who was saying, okay, well, but you don't want to, if you don't want to date a trans woman, then you're being sexist or you're being phobic. I would draw a line right there.
Discriminatory, I believe it was.
Oh, yeah.
Discriminatory.
Well, Riley's an absolute maniac, though.
Yeah, and he apparently has flat out said that he will not date a guy because he doesn't like dick. And it's like, well, what the hell?
But if you don't date him, that's discriminatory.
The other thing you have to remember is, as much as Riley and Milo Stewart and etc. seem to be in the norm, they are way out of fringe. They are so far fringe. It's not even.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's why they've got nice, crazy opinions to mock.
I think like he, she, they, I think are the key ones, and that is like totally fine. And also for me, it costs me absolutely nothing to just respect what someone wants to be called. Like if somebody wants to be called saying, I don't see what I gain from deliberately going out
I'm not going to address
to
somebody as Her Majesty.
Who invited this ranting lunatic?
That's not a pronoun though.
It is.
Ranting lunatic.
No, that's not Egal. That isn't what she said.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying that, like, I will respect people, but like, there is a limit.
So
Egal, it is when they want.
What you're saying is you agree with what she just said.
Yeah,
but,
and I'm bringing up a different
point.
Yeah, just putting a limit to it.
Taking an angle on it.
Like, you get tired of sounding kind of condescending, like you're lecturing everyone.
Okay, I didn't mean to.
She's gone on the defensive because you came at her hard.
Do not come at her hard. You'll get yelled at.
I don't really give a damn at this point. She sounds like she's lecturing people and defining what you have to say and how you have to say and where you have to say.
Here's the thing, Angry Mgtow.
I am a half-mask because of Roy. Does that count?
She's not lecturing anyone, really.
We don't.
And
have to agree. We can have a conversation here, Angry. You don't. I know you're called Angry Mgtow, but you don't have to be angry. Discuss. Speak.
He does. No,
Don't
all of
just
his subscribers will leave him if he's not angry all the time.
I suppose, but if you're actually wanting to learn something, maybe take a step back.
No. You know, here's the thing. I started talking to you a lot simply because I thought you guys were relaxed and could enjoy a joke. But when she came in here and started talking about the pronouns, and it feels like she's lecturing us and putting us in this little box of nonsense.
Well, no. It's not a lecture. It's a difference of opinion. I mean, you know, we called Riley Dennis she on the video we did because it wasn't the point. Like, we didn't want to really be like, well, we don't think that you can, you know, be a she. It was more like, well, you're just an insane lunatic was the point I was trying to get across. Milo Stewart, I think, is just a bit of an attention seeker, and she'll just do anything for attention.
There's no point arguing over whether someone uses the word she or he when you can actually go after the ideology that you think is harmful rather than the words they choose to use.
Yeah.
Always go after the ideas, not the people.
Yeah. As best you can. Sometimes
it's too hard to not.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen your videos, Sir Sick. Definitely hard not to go after those ones. I understand.
Wait, Sick, you did like the Flat Earth video today, right?
Oh, yeah. See, I don't blame you there at all.
I was quite nice.
You were.
I know.
I mean, I called him a fucking idiot and a moron, but that's because he believes the Earth is flat.
You know,
but I didn't.
It was like he said. You make the argument if you're on the top of the Earth, on the bottom, why don't you just fall off the Earth?
Well, you're upside down. When you fly from the North Pole to the South Pole, you're upside down. Irrefutable evidence the Earth is flat, and I died.
The only thing I would have done in there was
crazy.
Cut in the Futurama Morbo screaming "Windmills do not work that way" clip.
That's a pretty good one.
Wait, guys, listen. I'm gonna try and switch microphones again to my Slack.
Oh God!
If it starts throwing this shit bit, just let me know and I'll switch back. Okay.
Here goes the stream again.
You're probably
everybody wearing headphones. Brace your anus.
I have my finger over the mute button.
I'll just turn my volume down. Oh God, this is going to be a disaster. One of the main things most people have when it comes to giving people their pronouns and stuff, if someone comes at me aggressively, I'm going to care a lot less what their specific pronouns are than if someone comes at me and says, "Hi, my name's John. Would you mind calling me?"
I think that's oh, sorry to cut you off.
Here we go.
Oof. I think that's a fair point because I do think in social justice sometimes people can get a little too passionate and they come a little like headstrong, and that's not really helpful. And the problem is there's also something that gets talked about a lot in our circles, which is tone policing, and people say that you basically don't have a right to tell somebody in an oppressed group how they do and don't deal with their oppression and such like that. And I disagree with that, and I think that a lot of people, that's been very contentious, by the way. It's not something that all social justice people agree with, but it's basically like the idea that you know, you can say it how you like because you shouldn't have to sort of restrain yourself when you're dealing with oppression. But I think that also people are going to be less receptive if you're coming at them going, "You're an asshole, you're this, you're that, and you need to agree with me, or you're a bad person." If you're having that attitude, then people aren't going to listen to you. They're going to write you off as being a sort of radical crazy, and they're not going to open up. So I don't think it's very productive in the long term, and it's all well and good to be all, you know, "Oh, well, I can do what I like, and, you know, it doesn't matter. If they get offended, they're the problem." But at the end of the day, you're just hurting your movement.
A lot of those ones are very, I don't agree with that whole oppression scaling and intersexual oppression, and like that to me has been taken way too far. There is some truth to it, but they've really taken it way too far.
I see a lot of people that start jumping into what they call an oppressive group, and they're just doing it maybe for attention, so it makes it very difficult to figure out who they actually are. Are they saying they're in the suppressive group just so they can get the attention for I'm oppressed, but they're not really. They're like oh,
Sean King?
Right. Anything like call it non-binary. It's like, well, no, you're something, but you just decide you don't want to even give a shit. You want to be asexual. Fine, whatever. But like they start acting like they're in some oppressed group, and it's like I don't know, like they're trying to be the popular kid in school or something because it's trending right now.
Let me ask Ranting. Ranting, do you think that you're oppressed as being a cisgendered white woman in America?
She's not in
I'm not in America.
She's caught.
I don't know.
Your Western country.
Really, I think the problem with the word oppression is it comes into an argument of semantics because some people use it more lightly than others. Now, I don't really like to use words like oppressed or privileged because I think that it creates a dichotomy and most people just kind of switch off and go, oh, fuck off, you're a middle-class white woman living in Australia. What have you got to complain about that would make you feel oppressed? And really it turns the conversation into whether oppressed is an appropriate word to use or not versus dealing with the actual issue that's being brought up. Like, I rather talk about the issues rather than, the dichotomy of oppressed or privileged. And I do think it's a bit too black and white. I think that there's a lot of issues with the sort of, as I said, the dichotomy of that, because I think that you can have disadvantages and advantages. And I guess I'd prefer to say that there are ways in which gender can put me at a disadvantage, but I don't really prefer the word oppressed. I think it's a bit loaded.
Boxes.
Yeah, like gender can disadvantage people. And I think there are disadvantages to being a man as well. And I think that there's also, we're a mix of advantages and disadvantages, really. But I don't know if the word oppressed versus privilege has done a really good... I think it's caused a lot of problems because it's quite a loaded term. And I think maybe it's better to use disadvantages or advantages because people can understand it better rather than telling white men that they're privileged. And you can be a white man and have like crippling depression or something and have a really bad life. So telling that man that he's...
Yeah,
I have absolutely no power or privilege over any other person, and that's why I hate when they use oppression as a weapon. Because to say that, like, I'm oppressing black people simply by being white, for example, it's like, well, I have no power, I have no privilege. There's nothing I can hold over anybody anywhere in this world, regardless of who they may be. And I really resent when that's like used as a shield and a sword.
I do think there is a problem with that. I think that, Sorry, go on. Angry Mgtow, did you? Sorry.
I was going to say that, like, my problem is this. I'm not saying that you can't have these type of discussions, but when we focus the narrative so much on these type of discussions, they literally take up everything. They take up the entire narrative. I mean, it's like with feminists, it's all about talking about, this dialogue. It's like you guys just don't do anything else. It's like 24/7. This type of dialogue. It's annoying and it's irritating.
Well, that's the pod calling the kettle black, isn't it, there, buddy? I've seen your channel.
Okay, no. Here's
no. Yes.
Egal, listen. If you haven't picked up on it already, Angry Mgtow is just a fucking character. I mean, it's about, I do believe in a lot of the things I say, but obviously I'm not that person when I'm not on the fucking channel, dude. And I don't spend all my time ranting about how much I hate women. I love pussy. But when I'm on that channel, I play a specific role. I play the role that I play.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go on, Angry. I just found it funny because you said I love pussy. Just like, I'm sorry. It's how you said it. It wasn't what you were saying. It's perfectly fine to love pussy. It's just funny.
Did anyone watch my?
And he's cut out again.
Is he cut off, for fuck's sake?
Anyway, I thought Angry Mgtow was making a point about hating these kinds of discussions, and I'm not really understanding because I feel like I'm being quite, reasonable here. So I don't really know what's to hate about this kind of discussion.
These kind of discussions, to my mind, are actually really good because it's where people like yourself and myself and Sir Sick, and we all realize that we actually agree on a huge amount of stuff, and it's the minutia on the fringe that we disagree on.
It's the minutia and some of the behavior, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes.
On both sides, let's be fair.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that there is a behavior on both sides that sort of gets overlooked. Like, I get all these response videos made to my content, and nobody sees it because it's like, you know, these people with like 2 subscribers, they'll make a response video to me and they'll try to like wreck and pwn me. And often it's just the cringiest shit you could ever see.
I really
And it's
want
funny,
to see some.
you know,
Go look at my first
yeah,
video.
I
It was
might link you
horseshit.
some. Yeah, and you look at some of it and it's so cringy, and you think, well, if this person was a feminist, there'd be like a billion response videos to this crap.
I would love to pwn a rubbish pwner. That would be awfully fun.
Well,
I was
the
just
thing-
thinking that would be quite interesting. I could pull out Manita for that one and just spank them. It'd be fun.
Well, there's the what is it? That fucking the atheist gamer. That idiot.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
He's
there's
just
a-
being a complete. He's being a complete twat to a little girl who clearly she didn't really know any better, but he was just being a creepy little weirdo, and we all fucking. I don't like to say the word, but we dogpiled him because he was
Everyone
being
went in
fucking
hard on him because he
awful.
got the rest. He was doing what we're all accused of.
Yeah, he was doing that
We
actual
all
shit.
took him
And
task
to
on
be
that.
fair, a lot of people gave him plenty of chances to correct his behavior, and he
So many.
refused. And that's when everybody kind of went at him hard.
He didn't know how to apologize at all.
No, he refused to like the bitter end.
He didn't, know
He
how
didn't
to
even refuse. He
people.
said, "Fine, I'll apologize then." Ugh, like a fucking mangy teenager. It was awful.
Am I working again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
but
now.
you still
Yeah,
haven't figured
they
out how to
can-
click a button, buddy.
Here, Ranting, how old are you?
I am in my 20s. I don't really want to give too much specific information because I think
No,
I could
I
get
would.
doxed if I was not saying my age, but
I just
I'll
asked your
just
age.
say I'm between the ages
Generation
of
was.
23 and 26.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know what generation you were in.
Yeah,
old are you,
yeah.
How old are you, Mgtow?
I'm 33.
Are you 33?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you old cunt.
Oh, shut up.
No one ever believes him.
Well, he does kind
He
of
sounds
sound
like a
he's on,
12-year-old.
yeah, a few years past like the start of puberty.
Oh, God.
Just
Yeah, I kind
start
of, I'll be
developing
honest,
your
I thought
man
he was
voice.
like maybe 19.
Just
I always
don't worry,
get-
buddy. One of these days, your testicles will descend. Your voice will start to lower. It'll happen. Don't worry.
We'll start
Yeah.
getting the angry Mgtow
No,
videos that start,
I-
"Hi guys,
Right?
I'm angry Mgtow."
Just keep pulling on it.
You're pulling hard and down. Oh no, that'll make your voice go up. No, don't do that.
Did
Oh
anyone,
yeah, true.
did anyone see the paedophile video?
Which one?
Fuck, dude! I was just about to say that. It's, you know, because I'm looking at doing something that's in that vein at the moment. Not that same guy or anything, but fuck me, man! It is hard to cover that content.
I
Difficult.
know.
Say difficult.
Yeah.
We had a
Yeah, okay. fair.
chat the other day that was hard.
It's you know it's trying to inject any kind of humor or levity to that is it's
Yeah.
impossible.
No, you
Exactly.
can't.
Uncomfortable
You can't.
topic.
I
It's
think
We
that's
do-
It's a very
uncomfortable
stiff topic.
We
Well, I
dealt
thought-
with that on Poison the Well. We tried to do that shit once before when Steve Anderson, that minister that started preaching about like for all the murders in the gay nightclub in Orlando. And normally our channel, we try to jump on the other side, like act crazier and be on their side, but act crazier than them. And it was really difficult to try to make a funny video while talking about a tragedy. And so I'm like, the pedophile video you're talking about, the guy was like, oh, well, they can consent. I'm like, just because I can say the word yes,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
not consent.
obviously, like his arguments are just fucking utter garbage nonsense, right? But like, I got a few comments saying like, obviously, like, oh, you're advocating violence, which
No,
I
Was it libertarians?
Very clear
'Cause-
what you were doing. It
Well,
was very clear what you were doing.
It
That
was-
was
Yeah, no
actually
kidding.
a warning to him rather than saying, "Someone please find this guy and beat the ever loving fuck out of him."
Yeah, it wasn't.
yeah,
It was like a sincere warning from what I could say.
yeah. Well, that's
Like, from what I could see.
That's how I wanted it to come across, but I've not been able to watch that video back. Like, I don't know. It's like because obviously you need. I would think if I was him, like, oh shit, a load of YouTubers are making videos on me, like much bigger YouTubers than us. So someone's bound to recognize him at some point.
But yeah, it's
that's
it's
very
also
true.
I
yeah,
mean,
if it's a-
somebody. He's
puts a
already been
spotlight
doxxed.
right on him.
You guys know.
Yeah, he's been doxxed.
Oh, I know, like a lot of YouTubers, they have his information entirely. Like a lot of them do. So it's, you know,
and it's harsh. Like it's one of those situations where, you know, and I mean, anyone who's ever spoken to me knows that I am hugely anti-doxing. But this is one of those times where I sit and go, honestly, can someone please just report it to his local police department?
Because he could be dangerous.
Because he could actually be he could actually be a risk.
Did we just?
I was trying to get him reported to the authorities, but yeah, but fuck, just I wanted to do a video, but I can't. I can't do it calmly. I just can't.
Yeah.
This is why actually I even said it to Roy. I think he got it perfectly correct the way they did the humor in that by bringing in the stuff from Brass Eye. I mean, Sir Sick, you'll remember Brass Eye. Please tell me you remember.
Yes, I love Brass Eye. It's one of the best things that ever existed.
I thought that was a very good way to bring some levity to it, because there's no way that you as an individual can look at this being said seriously and crack a joke about it. I mean, it came up in the discussion that we had the other day, and it's a video that I'm planning on doing probably this weekend, in relation to the whole thing of Milo Yiannopoulos. To kind of just, because I think there's a lot of people who don't understand the context what he was saying is with regards to the priest. So I'm going to be talking about the Catholic Church scandal that you had in the UK and Ireland, and what's ongoing now with Operation U-Tree.
Yeah,
I think it wasn't that joke that bothered me as such. Like the joke he made, I understand that there are people who joke about their own experiences. What bothered me was more that he was it seemed like to me he was applying his experience where he didn't feel violated to like everybody, like or like not everybody, but a larger context. Like he was saying that those relationships between older men and younger boys, I'm paraphrasing, but he said that they can be loving and nurturing or supportive or something, and that creeps me out because it's like, well,
they probably
that's like pedophilia.
But
no, it's not even close.
But
to put it in context, UK, what is your consent is like 16? I was told.
Yes.
Yeah.
16.
Okay, so. When I lost my virginity, it was a 16 to a 24-year-old who picked me up at a bar drunk, which is very similar to his situation. Now, our age of consent here is 18. So I can actually equate those two things to being similar because it's only 2 years under the age of consent. It is nowhere near pedophilia.
Yeah. And this is
what I was trying to say on Twitter.
This came up
two
in
things
a
are nowhere
discussion
near
we
the
had
same.
the other night. In Europe, you actually have a very interesting disparity where you have Italy, where the age of consent is 14, and the Vatican, which is within Rome, where it's 18.
I thought it was
I thought the Vatican was 12.
No.
It was at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was at one point.
It was when they had adopted the Italian laws from 1930, and they updated that in the last 10 years. Okay. In fairness, it's
I think Germany's also
priests
14.
and nuns. It's not something that fucking matters. Germany is 14, but there's a Romeo and Juliet clause like there is at the America.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. No. As in, you've got a certain. If you're 14 and someone who's 30 tries to nail you, you're damn right you're getting in trouble for that shit.
Right.
If another kid,
if
essentially,
16, that's okay.
It's like
I think we have a similar thing here where minors can consent to each other but nobody else. And I think the legal age of consent in Australia is between 16 and 17, depending on which state. So yeah, and it's also like with Milo, what bothered me is that he wasn't talking about a 16, 17-year-old. If you look at the context, it was 13, 14-year-olds he was talking about. And that bothers me, 13, 14-year-olds, I don't think are ready to sleep with adults, grown adults.
At 13 years old, I was still trying to pick between Mutant Ninja Turtles or Pac-Man SpaghettiOs, and that was getting me emotionally upset. There's no way if I was trying to have sex at that point, I would just found masturbation funny. There was no way I could figure out sex, especially with an adult. No, that would be weird.
I think one of the things he's doing there is he's looking at everything from his perspective, right? He doesn't consider himself to be a victim, and he's like, "Oh, that was actually pretty great. I had a great time, and I don't regret it." Whereas the other boys he's talking about, who knows, right? They may have been distraught, but you can only really see it from your own perspective. And he doesn't He doesn't think sometimes before he speaks, I think, is his problem.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I did kind of agree with him on is just that there is like a bit of, or maybe it was somebody else, but regardless, it's just there's a variance in people. Like when I was like 13, I was like 5'10" and been like masturbating since 8. So like that's much different contrast to what was just said.
Right.
Like
I was pretty much ready for it, even though it didn't happen for quite a few years after.
That's what I'm saying. He's
I agree
probably
with
connecting it to himself, and it's like, because the way he coped with it was trying to make it seem okay, that now that's the way his brain works. He goes, well, it was okay, I did it, and I think it's fine, because he has to compartmentalize the whole situation.
Because otherwise he'd have to admit what happened to him was fucking horrific.
Yes, exactly.
He can't do that to himself, and that's the angle I think he's coming from. It's like there's a lot of things you can pillory him with, but I don't think this.
You have to keep in mind it might not have actually been horrific for him. I mean, it wasn't for either the two different women that did it to me. It was not traumatizing. It didn't like I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong because of the legal aspects of it. But beyond that, like it didn't do me any harm.
Well, this is a discussion we were having in the pub last night. Like, obviously, I think we said it on an intro stream. Men and women, right? They're kind of. I feel like a lot of like young men, like they'd be fine to have a lot of sexual experiences pretty early, and they're not gonna give a shit. Like they're almost patted on the back by it. So I don't know how what he's actually thinking in his fucking brain. I'm not too sure whether he's being genuine or he's happy with it. I can't tell. You just have to look at how that kind of female on male abuse of that kind is treated every day. When you look at it, there is some massive inconsistencies with how people are treating what Milo has said and what we see happen every day of the year. Sure.
Oh, I agree.
And that's where I think people are just using this as a stick to beat him with because they disagree with politics.
The thing is with Milo, though, this isn't new information. This is something that's been out there for ages. You know, Kevin Logan did his video like a year ago on it. You know, I knew about this long before this became a controversy in the media. And it's just like, for most people in social justice, they've been saying, oh, okay, so here's where you draw the line. When he's a transphobe, that's fine. When he's this, he's that, that's fine. But now that's fine. Now that he's, said something about, 14-year-olds or 13-year-olds sometimes in some cases being mature enough for sex, as he puts it, suddenly that's all right,
Well, that is one of the things.
Suddenly, that's where you draw the line.
You will find a lot of people. That is so far from acceptable. Like I'm sure you know Suit yourself. It's basically what he does. He goes after people who push that kind of stuff, and he fucking goes hard on it.
No, I don't think that it's acceptable. I do think that he does. That it is kind of a valid point that some people do develop early, but I still think they should wait. And that other people who take advantage of them should, be charged.
Yeah, I don't think that, I think it's some young people will experiment with each other, and that's not predatory because it's two young people, and I'm not really for it either. It kind of creeps me out to think about, but, I think when it's two young people, it has to be treated differently than an adult and a young person. Like, I'm in my 20s. I can't imagine looking at a teenager and going, oh, yeah, that's somebody I want to sleep with. It's just fucked up.
Not even 18 or 19?
Well, 18 or 19 is very different to 13 or 14,
Well, no, it's just you said you just said teens,
I
but just on Milo, right? Didn't he clarify in his apology that party that he was talking about that he went to where quote unquote young boys were being fucked? Didn't he clarify that he was talking about young men of age, of consensual age?
Yes, he did.
He said that, but at the same time, why would he say very young boys? I wouldn't if I saw consenting age people at a party, I would go, ooh, very young boys.
Hang on a sec.
And he was in his 20s, wasn't he?
They're both two instances. It's just two instances of Milo's word. So how can you say, well, I'm going to believe the first one and not the second one?
bearing.
Okay, well, I think it's backtracking because I wouldn't emphasize very young boys unless it was, as I say, very young. Like, why the emphasis on very young? That
Yeah, I see
doesn't
what
make
you're
sense
saying.
if it's just consenting age. You know?
Yeah, that's a little confusing. If they were 18 years old, I'd just say very young men. But like you said, boys, immediately it just puts them in the subcategory of minor.
Yeah, but you're also kind of leaving out the whole like it's just that's part of the gay culture to refer to them as that. Yeah. That's why they started off with twinks. They call them twinks, and he goes, yeah, very young boys, to clarify what a twink is.
Yeah, and look, I'm not saying it doesn't sound bad, but I mean, it's hardly definitive. It's hardly, something.
Well, it isn't, but it's also with these other comments. It's not like this was in isolation. It's the other comments as well surrounding it that make me think that these were underage boys, because he seems to think that there are 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds who can consent. That's basically what he's saying.
The stuff about consent was pretty fucked. That was.
Well, the thing is, legally ranting feminist, there is 14-year-old boys who can consent in different countries, and this is where.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what he meant. That's an argument of semantics.
I think he meant someone like me who at 13 was 5'10" and looked 19. Was like pretty much almost done puberty by that age. By 15 or by 14, I was like 6 foot, and I was working out, and I looked like people who were 20.
If I were going to approach a dude and I was like, hey, how's it going, and all that, and anyway we start dating, whatever, and he goes, oh, by the way, I'm 14, I think at that point I'd run the other way. Like, and I think that's the appropriate response for an adult. Like, as much as the 14-year-old may feel mature enough and ready, but as an adult, I'm more questioning the adult aspects. Like, if you know that the person is 14, 13, whatever, like underage, you should run the other fucking way. And, like, I don't think that it's right for an adult morally. I think it's wrong for an adult to take advantage of a teen who's discovering their, who's just gone through puberty. Like,
well, that's why
especially somebody who's like mid-20s.
I hang out with girls that are at pubs that I trust the security guy does a good job on checking their age.
As far as I was at, they were shit.
The counterpoint I have to that like is, I refer to people in their early 20s as kids.
So do I.
Fucking old. And sure, this incident may have happened when he was in his 20s. He's talking about it in his 30s.
Yeah.
He may have been thinking, yeah, they're 18-year-old, 19-year-old, whatever, they're twinks. But when he's come to talk about that, he's using his 30-year-old brain. He probably goes, God, they were fucking very young at the time. Now that I think,
and I think that the very fact that he's exposed several pedophiles goes to show that he's not of a mindset that he thinks this is okay. It's okay to have sex with kids. I don't believe that.
No, that was.
I think that like it.
Go on, sorry.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say that.
Oh, I keep forgetting you're here.
Yeah, I had to let my girlfriend just came back. I had to go and do a lot of shit. But,
what? I thought you were gay too.
Girlfriend?
What? I'm not gay.
You have a girlfriend?
What gave you that impression?
Lacey.
Yeah.
You're a man lover.
Yeah, they're trying to faggot. I'm constantly wearing every video. But,
I have the same problem, man. I got a tiny faggots in my videos too. It makes it all weird.
I thought he was the straight one.
He is, from a comedic sense, possibly. But yeah, I think the whole sort of Milo's like a pedophile defender is that's a little too far.
It's weak sauce.
Well, yeah, they're not even in the same category, in my opinion.
Okay, well, granted, it is more hebephilia than or febophilia. I can't remember which, but it's probably more in that category than pedophilia. But I mean, I still think what he said was wrong. And to be honest, though, I had a problem with what he said before this crap blew up. Like, I saw the original video that Kevin Logan made like a year ago, and it did just blow up now. But, you know, I think this has been around for a long time, and the fact that the media only just now starts cracking down on it is a bit like, they're a bit slow with that.
Well, it's convenient for them to do it now.
Yeah, I mean,
they're opportunistic.
But yeah, they're waiting for Milo to have weight before they could strike.
You also can't.
But it's also like his comments on trans people weren't enough. His comments, like him singling out a trans person in the fucking audience and showing photos of them and being like, "Hey,
person was
this
not
guy.
in the
Hey,
audience.
look at this manly guy. He's so manly. I'd want to fuck him." You know, like that. That's so right. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. He just did it. He just singled out this trans person for no reason.
Ranting Feminist.
Well, he was making a.
Sorry.
If you're talking about the incident where he referred to the person who had pushed through the transgender bathrooms in the university, that person was not in the audience. They were not even a student in the university anymore at the time.
Yeah, they were. I mean,
there's arguments about that, but even so, I think even if they're not in the audience, even if they're not a student at the university anymore, either way, I think putting photos of it. That's not what I said. Let me finish, please. I was saying having a photo of them up and just ragging on their appearance for like this weird segue. That's rude. You know, why would you do that? There's no reason to do that.
There's a difference between criticism and holding to ridicule.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like singling one person out, and this person isn't a public figure either. This is just a person.
No,
singling this person out, calling her a man, calling her this and that. That's awful. I don't think that anybody, regardless of political standing, should go through that.
Again, point of information. The person was actually active in student politics, so they are a public figure.
Yeah, the thing is, he was.
What's the difference?
Not really.
What's the difference of everyone's a public person.
It was broadcast to the world. Like this was broadcast on Breitbart. He's just ridiculing this person for their appearance, for being trans.
He's
like
a
that's
provocateur,
awful.
Though. That's
but you can't just say, "Oh, he's just a provocateur." So it's okay.
The whole point of that is he does it to piss people off. That's what a provocateur. So, he does things that you're not supposed to.
So it doesn't matter if he ruins someone's life. Like this person is now getting ridiculed for that. Like as if that would inspire it.
I'm explaining why he does what he does.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter why he did it. It's wrong. It's wrong. I wouldn't agree with it being done to an anti-feminist either. Like, I wouldn't agree with having a picture of an anti-feminist up.
Slandering a particular bear or anything like that?
So you disagree with Descent of the Manosphere, for example, where Kevin Logan holds people he disagrees with up to ridicule.
Yeah, but he doesn't just rag on their appearance for 20 minutes straight. And
he does largely. He does largely.
I've seen him do it.
I mean, what if?
Also he's not somebody with millions. Like he hasn't got
I knew
I
knew that's what you were getting at was the platform.
That is such a weak argument.
This massive fucking platform.
It doesn't matter. Okay. He got there by doing that. That was my point. That's why people like
and Kevin Logan is on equal terms with the people he makes fun of because they're also doing the same thing to other people and all that. This person was just a random university student.
Yes, but the point is, you guys shun that behavior all the time, and then you
except for when Kevin does.
Yeah, that's the point. He's going after other people who are putting themselves out there in the public sphere and the same platform. It's on equal terms.
And pushed through.
But they weren't on the same platform. This student did not have the same platform as Marla Yiannopoulos. That's bullshit.
So
nobody knew who the student was.
Punching down.
That's it.
It's totally different. It's a totally false analogy. It's a non sequitur. It's got
I will actually agree with her, but the platform is irrelevant because the platform is all people who already agree with them.
Fine.
I mean, I just think like for somebody with a huge influence and lots of people watching them, for them to single out a random person who has really got basically no platform and doesn't really like no one knows who this person is. For them to just go, hey, look at this asshole. Look what an ugly face they have. Like, that's fucked up.
That wasn't a random person, though. He was making a point at that specific university.
And could he not have done that without, like, just ragging on the person's appearance? Like, what does that got to do with anything? It's just wrong.
That's what I said.
Ranting Feminist.
Who cares? He was still trying to make a point.
I will actually agree with you that how he did it was wrong. The fact that it was an option to do. Sorry, that person was involved in student politics. They had got policies changed in the university. That is open to criticism. The way he did it, I
That
don't
is
agree with.
open to criticism. The way he did it is wrong. That's all I'm having an issue with. For him to criticize the policy is one thing. For him to basically go, hey, look at this person, look at this manly, ugly person.
Like doing a witch hunt.
I think it's morally wrong. Yeah, it's
what do you mean by what do you mean wrong? You mean morally wrong or
yes,
or
morally
legally
wrong. As in morally wrong. I think it's wrong to hold up a photo of a random person and be like, "Hey, look at this person. Look how ugly and stupid they are."
But that's the thing. The person wasn't random.
Okay, I don't care if the person was random or not. It's the fact that they don't have nearly the platform Milo does.
You gotta stick to a point here.
Okay, well, look, if I have millions of people who listen to what I say and who like that, fine. But going after just an ordinary person, this is what I mean. It's not a random person.
Not an ordinary person. It was a person.
It was a targeted person. Fine.
So ranting feminist. What about say for example? What about when like last week when I made a video about Woolly Bumblebee? Let's compare it to that scenario. Was I highly unjustified doing that?
Well, I don't know. I didn't watch the video.
Okay.
I don't know what you talked about in it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I know what resulted. I know what resulted from that, by the way. But yeah, no, I don't know.
What resulted from that?
Her deleting her channel.
Well, that's a decision she made.
By fans.
Have you seen these threats?
Yeah, she put them on her blog.
No, she put an email with a redacted email address on her blog. That could have come from anyone.
Oh,
so
yeah,
wait, are we not allowed to make videos about someone who has less subscribers than us? Is that what you're saying? Because they can't defend themselves properly. So now I have to stop making sure I got to start. I mean, I have a low sub count anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's not it. That's not what I meant. Okay, well, personally, I don't like response videos that are directed at, say, somebody with like 2 subscribers. That's something I do have personal issue with, but not to the degree of what Milo did. I'm not saying they're akin to each other. 200 subscribers? I don't know, okay? It depends where you draw the line, but it's more also how much damage you think that the person... Okay, well, I don't know, because with my channel, I'm careful because I don't do response videos typically because I don't really like the attitude that a lot of them have. I'm not a response video maker. If I was, I'd want to go after somebody equal or bigger than me. I don't really like the idea of going after people who won't be expecting it.
Once they open up their mouth, they're opening themselves up for critique, regardless of their.
I agree,
slay.
But it's also like you don't go onto YouTube. You don't go onto YouTube expecting like a response video from somebody really big. Nobody starts YouTube thinking that's where it's going to go right away.
But does that mean that the big person doesn't have the right to make that response video? Well,
I think it's more you need to exercise caution, like with how you go about it. I think because with a big audience comes big responsibility. I believe personally, I think that when you have a big audience, you need to be aware of the consequences that might occur if you do speak about somebody or how you go about it. Because sometimes there are people who follow you who will do bad things.
You don't have to change your formula of how you got famous just because you got famous. I don't agree with that.
Right. If David walked up and punched Goliath in the back of the head, Goliath isn't allowed to turn around and then attack David.
But you're talking about somebody who like actually approaches you and stuff. Look, I think this discussion, we're not really going to reach an agreement on it, and it's sort of at this stage it's like 4 against 1, and I'm kind of not comfortable with that.
We should continue a one-on-one ranting feminist. You calmed down. You're pissed off at me a couple of months ago. You're calm enough to join me for a chat again.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much to be gained from it, to be honest, because I don't think either of us come away with anything new or different. We just kind of...
No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. We explore these, even if we do thrash it out, we explore these topics and we make each other and other people think. That's what we get out of it.
All right.
And we have a fantastic example this evening on Bearing's second channel, not his live streams channel, of him actually having a calm, collected discussion with someone who had actually sent out a video at him this week. So,
I don't think there's much to be gained from it. like in a lot of ways, because like with this topic particularly, because I already talked to Bearing about it in the past and we disagree and we're probably always going to, and that's fine.
Well, hang on.
It's fine to disagree
Ranting
with me, but yeah.
Ranting Feminist. What you know what you're going to gain? Like here you are preaching your ideas. You've obviously got a set of convictions that you think are right. Don't you think it makes sense to put that to 300,000 people? Don't you want more people to hear
but
your
I mean,
ideas?
your subscribers aren't really people who typically agree with people like me anyway. You know, a lot of I've had a lot of interactions with your subscribers.
Convince them. They're mostly logical people. Convince them.
Maybe you can turn them and make them see your side. I mean, it's worth the exposure. Nothing else.
I guess
I'm constantly trying to convince you lot.
I'm sub to Bearing. I agree with you on a vast majority of stuff. And I think
that's not going to get you an argument with Bearing on his channel, you fool.
No, I agree with Ranting Feminist on the vast majority of stuff. And the thing is, I think you'll find I'm probably more representative of the majority of his demographic than the vocal shit posters, because Bearing did the maths on it. The vocal shit posters is like 1%.
If that.
You know, you did that maths
it's
for
just,
Mike
I mean,
Rowlands.
it does. It's unfortunate because it does sort of poison the well, because like, you know, where Bearing and I will be having a discussion, the sort of, I want to call them like radical anti-SJW edgelord kind of types. They come over to the channel and they just start spamming bullshit that has nothing to do with the video, and they clearly haven't watched either my video or Bearing's video. Sometimes I wonder if they even watch Bearing's video.
I get those as well.
But it's like it's just that it gets like bombarded to the point where the comment section is just completely fucked, because the people
there's a lot
who
of
were rebutting
on
me.
YouTube.
Yeah, but like the people who were rebutting me, the people who were rebutting me in a reasoned manner and making a good point, their comment is now down the line far below, and now the top comment is feminism is cancer. And I'm like, really? Great. So now the person made an argument.
I've invited you for a chat with me, not my audience. Just don't look at the chat.
Yeah, true. I suppose I got sidetracked talking about some of the radical anti-SJWs. Sorry, but yeah, okay. Look, we'll have a chat sometime. What do you particularly have an issue with?
Oh, just your general views and attitudes and outlook on life.
Okay, sure.
I've still got your email address. I'll send you an email.
No worries.
All right, it'll be explosive.
Just like that shits.
Yeah, 1v1 me IRL. I'm just, that's a joke.
No, I'm fucking
meet you at the Macca's car park.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna be in Australia in a couple weeks' time. I will live stream that shit.
Yeah, I'd probably lose, to be honest. I'm not very tough.
I reckon you are. You sound tough. I reckon you got fucking big biceps. I reckon you
I don't know. I did like a week of karate, so yeah, I'm tough.
Hey, tell me, did you watch Steve Sharp's video on Milo? The one where he was just laughing about Milo's life turning to shit?
No, I don't think I don't really watch Shives all that often, but I often get asked for my opinion of him, but I haven't really watched a lot of his content, to be perfectly honest.
Before I go on, what did you think? What did you think of Chicks with Dicks? Fucking pisser, wasn't it?
I didn't like it. I thought that wasn't really. That's not really nice, because
it's nice, but it proved.
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of mean to play in somebody's sympathies and empathies to get them to say, because now
that's not what I did. That's not what I did. That's not what I did.
But it felt like that, because now I see comments that are asking for support, and I start wondering, is this Bearing playing a prank when I get these odd comments? Like, yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, though. Like, I remember it made me remember this conversation I had early in my channel where somebody's like, oh, my ex-girlfriend, she used to beat me up and blah, 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 blah. And they just kept talking to me. And I was like, oh, sorry to hear that, man. It sounds like you might need some help with that. And he just kept going and going and going with his sad story. And now it just makes me feel like, what if that was just Bearing, fucking taking the piss? And, I got worried about this person's well-being, and it's actually all just
congratulations, you're a good person.
Take. But it makes me feel like a bit of a dick, if I'm being all nice and sympathetic to somebody and it turns out they're just taking a piss.
Look, if you were out the week before, if you'd gone on a live stream the week before saying fuck Nazis, punch Nazis, and by the way, anti-feminists are Nazis, so basically saying anti-feminists that we argue against on the internet deserve to get the shit beaten out of them, you'd fucking deserve that, and I'd laugh at you for that. That's what I was attacking with Steve.
And even if Barry
he is a douche.
Was the person leaving those comments on your channel, and I'm not saying he was, all that does, all he's achieved with that is highlight that you're actually a good person, that you are willing to reach out and engage and try and help someone who needs it, not sit there and gloat about how this shows how terrible your ideological opponents are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing, though. Like, I just thought it took it too far personally, but that's my opinion. People have difference of opinion. There are a few people on both sides who took issue with it, but it's humor, it's subjective. So, yeah, I can't argue with you that your subjective humor is wrong.
It primarily wasn't humor. I'll stress it again. It wasn't that wasn't driven by humor. That was making a point as to how much Steve just hates us and thinks we're scum of the earth. That was highlighting that.
But I don't see how that's like proving him wrong, though. How is that proving him wrong, though? You're just going, haha, see, I made you think this, but actually it was wrong.
It's because of I don't really see how that
it's not about proving him wrong. It's about exposing him to the world. It's about making him demonstrate to the world how much of a prick he is. That's what it was about.
I mean, had Steve just turned around and said, that's terrible. Have you gone to the police? Are you getting the help that you need? Is there anything I can do to help you? That would have made a really shit video for Bearing.
Yeah.
But the fact that he jumped in and said, I can easily believe they would have done this. It could have been loads of people that have spoken about. All that does is prove that he doesn't see us as people. He sees us as enemies and not even fucking human anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything was if I had a meetup, then I'd do this and none of it was I have concern for you. It was all I'm going to show concern for you for my benefit.
I think that, from what I saw, it was more like he was trying to say, you're safe with me, that I'd never do that, I'd never allow that to happen to you, and it wasn't, I understand that maybe it seems clumsily worded, but to me, I just interpreted it as him saying, it's okay, that won't happen here, I won't allow that kind of thing.
But that's all he said. You'd think if there was genuine concern there, he'd ask some questions, not just I questions.
They would have been absolutely perfectly.
But it's not really like a live conversation. It's not really like a live conversation, though. You can't really I don't know. I don't know how I'd handle it. I suppose really I'm in an awkward position here. I'm kind of playing Shives' advocate.
Yeah.
I'm playing Shives' advocate here, but I don't know. I didn't interpret it that way.
Fuck Steve Shives. Fuck Steve Shives.
I don't know, because I get asked a lot about Steve Shives, and to be honest, I'm pretty neutral on him. I like a lot of stuff that he says, and there's things he says I disagree with. There's approaches he has I disagree with, and all that.
Watch his video on Milo from yesterday. It is fucking disgusting. He's literally laughing hysterically at Milo's downfall, and then he goes on to talk about tolerant people and tolerant this, tolerant that. By the way, fuck Milo and his fucking stupid gay ass. It's just. It's so backward. He preaches one thing and instantly shows demonstrates another.
We could
for people on our side is actually rather ridiculous, and I don't mean to say that our side because I don't like dividing, but the way he treats people that have dissent or disagree with him is actually really asinine and ridiculous. We're not.
I don't agree.
Anybody who disagrees with him is not
how
human.
he handles. I don't agree with how he handles the dissent, and I see this a lot on both sides because there are people
Steve?
and it's people in general. Sometimes on our side tend to go, "Oh, the people on that side are ignorant. They're idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. Just write them off and don't listen to anything."
Disgusting, non-human.
But it happens. Well, I don't know about that level. I don't hear that much about that, but. I mean, mostly if there's been a big thing happen where somebody gets hurt or whatever, or, you know, has real life consequences because of something that happened. I don't know. Like, sometimes you hear stuff like that, but generally the impression I get from other feminists is a lot of them sort of feel like there's a lot of people in anti-SJW side who are not worth engaging with and not worth addressing, but I disagree. I think that there's a lot of people where it would be better to just kind of clear the air a little and engage and sort of deconstruct some of the ideas of us that people have, like, because people have this idea of feminists, and I think we're not going to break that down if we just keep, you know, in our spaces and them in their spaces. Like, there needs to be a bit of a bridge built.
It's something I've said many times. Entrenched partisanship solves nothing.
Need to have open conversations.
But I do see the attitudes on the other side too. Like, there are people who tell me that because I'm a feminist, nobody should listen to me, and because I'm a feminist, everyone should just dismiss what I say outright. Yeah, and I think it exists on both sides.
There's dicks on every side, you know? And there's nothing you can really do about that.
So I'm trying to, like, show people that productive stuff can happen from engaging with the other side, and that's what I'm sort of trying to prove with my channel. Is that, you know, I'm also trying to do the videos where I kind of just explain concepts that I think haven't really gotten explained right. Like, I think with feminists, we use a lot of trigger warnings. Yeah, well, I think that that's a term that hasn't been explained very well, because we use a lot of these terms without explaining what we mean by it, and people then are left to infer their own meaning, and sometimes it's sort of interpreted very differently to what was meant. Because trigger warnings aren't meant to silence free speech. Yeah. I did. You responded to it, remember? Back when, you know, it was up.
You also do get people who will come out and create their own meaning for things, and it does kind of muddy the situation.
Create their own.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's people who do it on my side too.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose, like,
on both sides, I'm sure.
For me, like, I think that with trigger warnings, all it was ever meant to be was for very specific sort of traumatic incidences, not like applied to everything. And, you know, it's sort of like if I am going to talk about something like sexual assault, it costs me nothing to put a trigger warning on there. So I'll just do it you know, because it might help somebody. It might help somebody who's not ready to deal with it. It's not like, it's not saying... Well, I mean, that's the thing. You know, it could, but, you know, it depends. It's
put a trigger warning on it.
I don't know. Well,
Warning,
I
this
have
trigger
heard of
may
that
warn to trigger you. Yes.
I think, though, it's like, it's a precaution for people who are really in a bad place with it, where they haven't really dealt with it yet, and they're not ready to go there, and they're not ready to hear it. I don't really know how much use it's got, but I think it gets misinterpreted as silencing speech, and that's not what it's meant as. It's just a precursor to something, then you say the thing anyway.
That's where the question comes in of what it's intended to be, and with what you've just described there, I actually don't have a problem. It's when it gets used on absolutely everything everywhere. And what it actually ends up doing is weakening it.
Like every single YouTube video you ever make?
Food trigger warnings, I wasn't really so much saying that that's a thing that everyone needs to do or anything. It was more like, I just meant that I'd seen that and been confused about that, and I was like, what? Food trigger warning? What? And then I realized it was for people with eating disorders and stuff who, you know, are having trouble with that.
This cake is delicious.
See,
Garrett was on board. Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Garrett was on board with the food trigger warnings.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's an opinion, really, because I mean, it's a thing of like, it costs you nothing to put it in there if you're going to. And if you want to, you can put it there. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But if you're trying to like be more sensitive to people with eating disorders or whatever, you know,
he doesn't have.
I guess I have no issue with
it. Have it
that's kind of mean. There's no need for that, really. Just insulting his weight. Yeah, I think it's mean. I don't like seeing people pick on someone for their appearance. I think it's wrong.
I'm just going to say,
Well, it's perfectly fine to say Bearing is a dumb cunt. Does he ever read a book? What a fucking retard. That's fine.
Well, I
I'm
don't
just gonna go
know
with
if I've
fuck
really
Garrett
heard him say
after the
that.
interaction we had
Oh,
tonight.
he has. So is Christy. So is Christiosity. So is Mark Rowland. So is Tim.
I will say Kevin Logan
I'm
does
not,
look remarkably like a potato.
I'm not any of those people, and that's between you guys. I don't really want to get involved.
No, you're not
in
Garrett.
all that,
I was calling Garrett a fat cunt, not you. So that's well cool.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll send you an email. I've got to head off, guys. But thanks for having me. Are you there, Roy?
No, he's not here anymore.
I think he's seeing his girlfriend. His subscribers are going to be disappointed because
I think
they were here to see him.
Roy's
Where
done
the
an
fuck's
barely
Lacey?
been here.
of start a video and then just let the people who invited talk and go make a cup of tea.
Yeah, his whole plan was just to get the stream going. He's like, all right, I'm out, guys. Have fun.
Did Lacey ever front up?
Nah.
Nah.
In the chat.
Oh, I gotta go. 1 sec.
Oh, his mic stopped working apparently.
Ah.
All right. Anyway, thanks for having me. It was good to chat with you guys. I'll catch you
Big
later.
bear hugs, buddy.
We'll move to some other branch of utter stupidity. Go hard on that for a couple of months. I mean, if you look at Armored Skeptics' early stuff, it's all fucking Christianity.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, wait, he's back.
Oh my God, is it working?
Yep.
Well, working sort of. I'm glad he started the chat for everybody.
Oh, that was incredibly frustrating. What did I do? Did I stop the chat?
No, you started a very interesting, very long conversation and stayed quiet.
Oh, I
He was
don't
just
even remember.
Sitting in the corner, slowly jacking it.
Yeah, I was talking for about 20 minutes and I was thinking, how rude. Why does everyone just keep talking over me?
And then you realized your mic was gone.
At some point, I realized everything had gone wrong, yeah.
Interestingly enough, all of our pictures are now showing up in the Hangout again.
Well, yeah, because he left it unclicked.
Yep.
I literally just turned my laptop on and off and now it's working for no reason.
Your subs really do prefer Lacey to you, don't they?
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I don't know
Just looking
why.
at the chat here.
So,
I had to deal with
that's
that
the
with
bangability factor. Come on,
I've dealt
let's be honest
with,
here.
yeah.
With Fame. He gets more attention because he looks like a jackass.
Well,
It's
just
like-
periodically rag on him about being a Steelers fan, and it's all good.
Oh, super easy.
Dude, I'll send you over some Ravens shit. It's all good.
Don't do that. I'm still dealing with the Falcons loss right now. I can't handle anything right now.
Hey, dude, birdie bros for a day.
Birds.
I was gonna say, man, I was trying to it cut out when when Ranting Feminist was talking about like not criticizing people smaller than you. So it was like
Punching down.
essentially what she's saying is
Oh fuck, he's going again.
what I wanted to say, but I couldn't. I'm sat there screaming into my mic while she's just talking shit, and I was like, oh.
Roy,
Fuck.
are you using Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Plug in a cable.
You
Roy.
think I was using?
Plug in a
I
cable.
don't think I can. Hang on, let me try.
Oh, I'm using Wi-Fi.
One second.
Yeah, but you live in a fucking
God,
nowhere.
yeah.
He lives in a residential
You
street.
think I've got retarded Wi-Fi?
All right. Well, guys, it was really fun. I got to go.
You suck.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. This might be a good time to wrap things up. It's just as Roy comes back.
You're at the 2-hour mark. Roy came in just to bookmark the whole thing. Good job.
Well, thank you for having us all on here.
It was a fantastic stream.
Well, thanks for just making it for like 2 hours.
You got good friends, Roy, and made everything better.
It's a good practice run, buddy.
Hey,
Yeah.
it was officially better than a Dindro stream.
Well, I think it's going to be okay. I'm not going to do this again until I've got that equipment because it's fucked.
And by that equipment, do you mean a fucking cable, Roy?
I'll buy I'll get myself a cable. They're hard to come by in England. We're not as advanced as the Americans or the Irish. So.
You don't have postal services? Can't order things in the mail there?
No, we
I know the Netherlands is like
Messenger
really
pigeon still.
ridiculously restricted on a lot of things. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, right.
I want to say, wait, but before you fuck up, is it like? I just want to say because we were talking about pedophiles at some point. Are you still allowed to listen to like Lost Prophets and Gary Glitter without feeling bad?
No, you can't. You can't without cringing. I can't listen to Lost Prophets at all. I'm like, oh, it's so awkward.
Dude, that fucking annoys me so much because like they were one of the first bands I went to see live.
Yeah, and now it's like immediately if their song comes on, you gotta skip it because immediately you can't listen to the song. You're like, oh, creepy.
But that's unfair on the rest of the band. It is one of those things that's like,
One bad apple spoils a whole damn bunch.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks for
Right.
watching.
Perfect way to sign off. Dead
Thanks for coming.
silence.